This is Fort Caroline. It sits on the banks of the St. Johns River. It is thought to be the first colonization attempt from Europe into America for religious freedom. Part of the Timucuan Preserve, the fort is surrounded by nature trails. The replica may be on the St. Johns River, but the location of the real fort is unknown. Park Ranger Craig Morris notes that the fort's location may not be in the original spot, but it is structurally accurate.
We've never found the original fort. This is strictly a memorial. We know from the writings, the French writings, that it was in the shape of a triangle. There was a wooden wall against the river because they weren't worried about an attack, because they couldn't get the big Spanish galleons and the French large ships across the mouth of the river.
Researchers have been searching for the actual location of the fort for over 150 years. Two researchers from the University of North Florida claimed it was 70 degrees north of the current replica. The researchers' claim would put the location of the fort in Georgia, somewhere near Brunswick. It has been disputed because of lack of physical evidence. Morris says history implies where it may lie.
It's the hardest thing for me to believe is if the fort was that far north, how did the Spanish get there in the short time period that they walked here?
Morris is referring to the Spanish attack on the fort in 1565, when they marched from St. Augustine and surprise attacked the French. Robert Tunin is a professor from UNF and has been looking for the location of Fort Caroline along the St. Johns River for the last 15 years. Tunin, who disagrees with the Georgia location, says it does not add up.
That's too far north from all of the historical accounts, and also the archaeology does not suggest that the fort is on the Altamaha. They have continued, as far as I know, to investigate that area, but so far have not found the smoking gun.
Tunin says the historical documents prove it was not that far north. The Timucuan Indians who greeted the French lived near the St. Johns River.
There's a continuity of occupation that goes from before the French were here till the British finally burned the Spanish missions here in 1702. That makes it very suggestive that the natives that are in this area were the ones that greeted the French.
Unlike most forts that are built of stone, Fort Caroline was made of wood. So when the Spanish abandoned it in 1569, it eroded over time. Professor Keith Ashley is an associate of Tunin. He says researchers need to focus on more than documents, since no physical evidence has been found.
I think what we need to start looking at is the broader picture, that most people know that Fort Caroline was a French outpost, a French fort, and that it was occupied for 15 months. What a lot of people don't realize is that the Spanish, when they took it over, they occupied it for 3 to 4 more years.
While the location may be in question, the history is not. For its 450th anniversary, the preserve added new exhibits in the fort. Shauna Ray Allen, the chief of resource stewardship for the preserve, says that helped visitors have a better understanding of the fort.
But when people were in the fort, we didn't feel that they got the picture, the big picture of why we have this memorial. So we designed and installed a new exhibit that includes the names of the people as we know them who were here in 1564 when the fort was established.
The names on the exhibit only represent a small number of the settlers that were here.
1,200 people that came here as part of the colony of La Caroline. We only can glean about 112. That's such a small percentage.
The rest of the names may never be discovered, but Morris hopes the real location will eventually be found by Professors Ashley and Tunin.
That's one of the things, especially UNF archaeologists have been working on recently, is trying to locate where the original fort was. It would be a great thing because it's one of the biggest unsolved mysteries in certainly Florida history, if not U.S. history.
Charles White, Inside Jacksonville.
Well, that's a theory.